launch of this advocacy group. It's very important. And whenever I participated in events organized by or co-organized, like today by Ukraine SBL, I've done it with very mixed feelings, with sadness and anger, because the war is still raging 4 years after the illegal invasion of a sovereign country, uprooting people's lives and casting a shadow over the country's future. But I'm also here with a sense of very great admiration and hope, because you, as Ukraine, as civil society, continue to work with so much energy and determination, coordinating, supporting, liaising, both in Ukraine and here in the member states. Your efforts are remarkable, and you're rightly asking us to do more. Dear Ina and also Nicholas, thank you very much for what you do. We owe it to the Ukrainians who defend our values and our security too often with their lives, to stand with them to the very end of this conflict, to the very end of this conflict. Especially now, when new crises are popping up and dominate the headlines, when partners are displaying an ambivalent posture at best towards supporting Ukraine. Ukraine must know that it can count on Europe. Dear all, I'm very glad that you chose to focus this event on the fate of children that were abducted and deported by Russia. When political leaders cast their geopolitical die and declare wars, it is often the most vulnerable and innocent that suffer most. Children may appear innocent and helpless, yet they also hold great power, indeed nothing less than the future of a nation in their hands. And that's why it is as tragic as it is logical that they have become pawns in Putin's war, which is intended on denying Ukraine's right to exist, its identity and its nationhood. And it is important that you underscore that this is happening since 2014, because people often look at the Ukraine-Russia conflict through the lens of the illegal invasion of 2022, disregarding the fact that it actually started much, much earlier. And therefore, I really welcome and want to thank the various partners of the Advocacy Coalition for putting this issue to the fore. This conference also supports the objective of other global initiatives, notably the International Coalition for the Return of Ukrainian Children, and I'm really, of course, very happy that Luxembourg is part of that coalition. Dear all, the European Parliament has stood with the Ukrainian people from the very, very beginning, and we have also specifically focused on the fate of children. In April 2022, we adopted our first resolution on the European Union's protection of children and young people fleeing the war in Ukraine. And in May 2025, we voted a resolution with an overwhelming majority of 516 votes in favor, 3 votes against, and 34 abstentions on the return of Ukrainian children forcibly transferred and deported by Russia. And in this resolution, we strongly condemn the genocidal strategy carried out by Russia with the support of Belarus, designed to erase Ukrainian identity. We call on Russia and its authorities to report the identities and whereabouts of all deported Ukrainian children and ensure their well-being and safe and unconditional return, and allow international organizations such as the International Committee of the Red Cross access to all deported Ukrainian children. The resolution also asks the European Union to continue to support the Ukrainian authorities and international and non-governmental organizations in their efforts to document the deported children, and calls on the European Union and member states to join the International Coalition for the Return of Ukrainian Children. Finally, we underscored that Russia needs to be held accountable, and that any genuine peace deal must include the repatriation of these children and accountability for forcible transfers and deportations. Ultimately, we need to be crystal clear and name the deportation of children by Russia for what it is, a war crime. And we must not relent in our efforts to exercise pressure and keep this issue at the top of the agenda. On April 1st, 2022, European Parliament President Roberta Metsola was the first top EU official to travel to Ukraine after the invasion to meet President Zelensky and deliver a message of support and hope in the Ukrainian Parliament. Over 4 years later, this support remains resolute and unwavering. On the 21st of February this year, we held an extraordinary plenary session where President Zelensky addressed members of the European Parliament and where the Parliament adopted another resolution that reiterates its support to Ukraine. At the heart of this resolution were some enduring principles. Russia and its allies are fully responsible for the war and the ensuing crimes. Any peace agreement must be underpinned by robust security guarantees for Kyiv. No decisions about Ukraine's future should be made without Ukraine. More sanctions and more energy decoupling. We also remain adamant to a workable solution should be found to use Russia's frozen assets to finance reconstruction. As European Parliament, we moved swiftly to approve the 90 billion support loan package to Ukraine, and Viktor Orban's blockage of this support package is scandalous. We, of course, also hear anti-Ukraine and pro-Russian messages within the European Parliament, including from one Luxembourgish MEP who organizes meetings with members of the Duma. Those who block sanctions against Russia and aid to Ukraine are not only weakening Europe, but they are also strengthening the aggressor, and therefore, ultimately, they are deeply unpatriotic. We rather continue to firmly believe in Ukraine's European future, and the European Parliament was the first institution also to support Ukraine to receive EU candidate status, and was a strong advocate to start accession talks. We stand by this commitment. In our resolution, we recommend accelerating Ukraine's integration into the single market. We all know that the path to the European Union can be arduous, but we will stand by their side to walk that path step by step into our union. The war continues, yet so will our support. Russia's continued thirst for war will not outlast our support to Ukraine. It must, on the contrary, strengthen and evolve. And the European Parliament will remain on Ukraine's side, and we will continue to keep the issue of the deportation of children by Russia at the center of our debates. You can count on us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.